let's pretend that I'm somebody that knows that has a decent LinkedIn. Maybe it's not, a 10 on 10, but I have my most of my basic stuff is, already good to go. I have a strong header that, does a good job of summarizing my experiences. I have my resume on there. I have a good headshot. I'm using the banner space effectively. So say I have my house in order, so to speak. What is a good way for me to align on a strategy that works for me? And maybe a way to think of that is if you think of the strategy of having two parts, the first being applying to jobs and the second being networking.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I think everybody really needs to have an optimized LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Um, and this is why I say this, that there are so many people that contact me that were laid off. They had no idea it was coming. They were completely blindsided. They have no LinkedIn profile to speak of. They have no resume
Okay.
to speak of, and they're panicking, right? They don't have a network. They haven't been active on LinkedIn, and all of a sudden they're panicking and they're scrambling, saying, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do." And I'll tell you, this happens all the time. That people are laid off and they had no idea that it was coming. So what I always say, and I post about this on LinkedIn too, is that everyone at a minimum should have an optimized LinkedIn profile. So definitely, like to your point, you want to have a professional picture. The banner behind your name, that rectangular box, is prime real estate. It's the first thing that people see on your profile. So what I always suggest to people is go to Canva, Canva, personalize your banner. It doesn't have to be crazy, just personalize it, have some words there that talk about what is your value proposition, what do you want people
Awesome.
to know about you.
Gotcha.
And then under your name, I also consider very prime what I call LinkedIn real estate. So instead of saying, for example, I'm a sales associate at Dell Technologies, don't use that space to say where you work and what you do. Use that space to talk about who you are. Maybe some
Interesting.
quantifiable achievements. Use a couple different phrases. So, like for me, for example, under my name, it doesn't say where I work. It doesn't say my job title, because if someone wants to know that, they can go down on my profile and
True.
they're going to see it
Very
under my
true.
experience. What I want people to know about me is that I'm a global TA leader, that I'm ranked high in terms of, LinkedIn creators, that I'm a business advisor. That's what I want people to know about me. And then I also say that people should optimize their about section. So there's a section on LinkedIn, it's called about, and talk about who you are. What are your some of your achievements? Use that space to make it so people read that and are going to want to talk to you. Make it interesting. You
Yeah.
could talk a little bit about personal stuff. Like I think I put on mine, like I am a job search coach and I'm a yoga instructor and things like that. And then for the experience, what I say is under your experience, under each job, don't just have these thick, long paragraphs. Use bullet
Mhm.
points. Make it easy to read. Use the quantifiable achievements. Make sure your skills section is optimized. There's a section on everyone's profile, and LinkedIn continues to change the number of skills you can have. I think the latest I read was 60, but use all 60 skills. Optimize that part of your profile. I think that's really important. And then the other thing I would say is start being active on LinkedIn. Not everyone posts, not everyone is comfortable posting, and that's okay. I get it. That's not everyone's what they really want to do, but find people that you are interested in following, follow their content, and when you see someone post something, comment on those posts. I'm often asked how I was able to grow my LinkedIn following.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination of two things. I post 5, 6 times a day, but I also comment on other people's posts. So what happens is when you comment on a post, not only does your name go on that, but the first thing you have under your name on your profile follows you.
True.
Right?
True.
So
True.
so
True.
if you
Yeah.
if you make a post and I comment on it, everyone is going to be able to see my comment. But it doesn't just say Melissa Grabner. What it says is global TA and HR leader, and then
Correct.
rated
Correct.
number 2 LinkedIn creator, so on and so forth. And LinkedIn was really smart to set it up that way because that's how you can learn about people through commenting on people's posts. So I think again, it's being active on the platform. And it takes time to build an audience. I want to say that too. So, a lot of people reach out to me and they say, how did you grow your audience to 360,000 followers? And I'm like, it doesn't happen overnight. It took me time. I spend a lot of time every day on LinkedIn, and you have to be committed to the platform. It does not happen overnight, and you have to be patient. You're going to have some days where you're going to gain 100 followers. You might have another day. I think one day I gained like 700 followers in a day. It just really depends on what you
Yeah.
post. You want to post things that are insightful, that are interesting. You want to start a conversation. So I post a lot about job search tips, tools, and motivation, but through my posts, I'm inviting people to comment. So a lot of times I'll say, like, what do you think? Or I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then it invites a dialogue. And that's how your name kind of gets out there on LinkedIn. But again, the key is that it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build an audience. The other thing I'll say, the last thing I'll say about this is that, and I see a lot of creators make this mistake, is that when I post something on LinkedIn, I generally reply to 90% of the comments that people make on my posts. I see
Mm.
a lot of creators, what they do is they post something and then there might be 500 comments, but they don't comment on those comments. I feel very strongly that if someone takes the time to write a comment on something I post, that they deserve a response from me. And it's time
Interesting.
consuming, but I feel really strongly that I owe it to my followers, because if they take the time to comment, then I should take the time to respond to that comment. So I think all those things collectively is really how you grow your following, having patience. But yeah, for people that are searching for a job, be active on LinkedIn, follow companies that you're interested in. If you apply to a position at a company, try to find out who the recruiter is. You can do a search on the toolbar. You put the name of the company, recruiter, or talent acquisition, send a note directly to those people who you think are the decision makers. That's how you stand out, especially when you're looking for